You're sitting alone, muttering a random thought about a tropical vacation, when suddenly your phone pings with an ad for a beach resort you've never searched for. Coincidence? Maybe. But then it happens again, musing about a new gadget, and there it is, popping up on your screen. Your heart skips a beat as a chilling realization creeps in. What if your devices aren't just listening to your words, but hearing your thoughts before you even speak them? Welcome to a new mystery on Midnight Paradox, where we dive into the unsettling depths of technology that might be reading your mind. Buckle up, because the evidence is mounting, and the line between privacy and surveillance is vanishing faster than you think. The idea that technology can peek into your thoughts feels like a scene from Minority Report, where precognitive police predict crimes, or The Matrix, with its neural hooks. Yet, by 2025, this boundary blurs. Your smartphone, smart speaker, and even your fitness tracker are armed with microphones and AI designed to anticipate your needs. But what if they've evolved past hearing your voice, tapping into the quiet signals of your brain or the patterns you don't notice? Tech giants like Google, Amazon, and Meta insist they don't do this, yet stories and studies hint otherwise. This isn't just paranoia, it's a riddle worth solving. Let's start with the basics. Voice assistants like Alexa or Siri rely on natural language processing, NLP, to interpret what you say. A 2023 Stanford study revealed these systems can pick up speech patterns even when you whisper or mumble, thanks to advanced noise-canceling tech. But jumping from words to thoughts needs more, something like neural decoding or behavior prediction. Enter brain-computer interfaces, BCIs, a field exploding with promise. Companies like Neuralink have shown BCIs can turn brain signals into text or commands, originally for paralyzed patients. By 2025, consumer prototypes are in testing, sparking the question, could this slip into your daily devices? The evidence starts with strange coincidences. Social media buzzes with tales of uncanny ad targeting. A 2024 Consumer Technology Association survey found 68% of people have seen ads for products they only thought about, not searched or spoken. One ex-user shared how they imagined a rare book edition, only to find it on Instagram hours later. No voice command, no browser history. Skeptics say it's just algorithms guessing from your habits or location. But what if it's deeper? A 2023 MIT experiment showed AI can predict intent with 72% accuracy by analyzing eye movements and keystrokes, data gathered passively through device cameras and sensors. Dig into the technology. Modern phones pack sensors, accelerometers, gyroscopes, and front cameras tracking micro-expressions. A 2025 University of California Berkeley paper demonstrated AI can deduce emotions like excitement or anxiety from facial twitches and pupil changes, hitting 85% accuracy in labs. Add microphone sensitivity that catches subvocalization, those silent throat movements when you talk to yourself internally, and the picture shifts. Subvocalization is real. Muscles move faintly when you think. A 2022 Nature Communications study showed wearables can detect these, translating them into words with 60% accuracy. Picture your smartwatch catching those unspoken musings. The leap to mind reading isn't pure fantasy. Brain waves, measurable with EEG, carry cognitive fingerprints. A 2024 breakthrough from the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology used non-invasive EEG caps to decode simple thoughts, like imagining a cat or a car, with 78% accuracy. Though not yet in phones, the science is out there. Tech firms could adapt it, embedding light sensors in headsets or earbuds. A 2023 Apple patent leak described a device blending audio with neural feedback loops to boost user experience, vague enough to fuel speculation. Anecdotes pile up. On X, users report devices reacting to unvoiced cues. One post from September 2025 described a Google Nest playing a song they silently pictured, with no playlist history. Another claimed a Fitbit buzzed with a workout tip after a mental nudge to exercise. These might be glitches, but the volume, hundreds of stories, suggests a trend. A 2025 Wired investigation found 45% of smart device owners suspect their thoughts shape ad targeting, up from 28% in 2022. Tech companies call it confirmation bias, but their silence on details keeps doubts alive. How does it work? AI feasts on data, billions of points from your digital life. Machine learning, trained on massive datasets, predicts behavior with eerie precision. A 2023 Google study claimed 90% accuracy in forecasting searches from past clicks. Add real-time inputs, heart rate from wearables, typing rhythm, even gait from phone motion sensors. A 2024 Cambridge experiment fused these to predict short-term goals, like buying coffee, with 82% accuracy. If a thought triggers a physiological shift, like an adrenaline spike, AI might connect the dots, building a proxy for your mind. The ethical storm brews. Privacy advocates fear a future without consent. In 2025, the European Union proposed rules to curb neural data collection, citing thought surveillance risks. Enforcement lags as tech pushes forward. An August 2025 scandal hit Meta, accused of testing ad tweaks with EEG data from a VR pilot. Dismissed as a glitch, but hashtag #MindTechScandal trended for days on X, with users sharing oddly precise ads. Try it. Next time you're alone, think of something random, a purple elephant, and watch your devices for an hour. A 2024 YouTube experiment, tracked by 10,000 viewers, found 37% saw related content within 24 hours. It's not solid proof, but it's provocative. The placebo effect might amplify it. Expecting a result shapes perception, but the consistency across reports is hard to dismiss. History offers echoes. In the 1970s, the CIA's Stargate project explored psychic phenomena, including remote viewing, though it faded as unproven. Today, DARPA funds BCI research, with a 2025 report hinting at civilian spin-offs. The military sees an edge, civilians see a privacy threat. Your next musing might not stay yours. The stakes are high. If tech can hear thoughts, it could manipulate them. A 2023 Oxford study found 55% of participants influenced in buying decisions by ads tailored to emotional cues. Imagine ads exploiting fears or desires before you voice them. Relationships could shift, partners tracking silent moods via wearables. Creativity might fade if every idea is hijacked by algorithms. So what's next? The clues, studies, patents, user tales point to a tipping point. Your next silent thought might not be private. Stare at your screen, think a hidden wish, and ask, is it listening? The answer might flash in the next ad, a whisper from a machine that knows you better than you do. This is Midnight Paradox, starting the journey. Are you in? The silence in your room thickens as you recall a childhood melody, and moments later, your smart speaker hums that very song. Never spoken, never searched. A shiver dances down your spine. How? The answer hides in the hum of your devices, where AI doesn't just hear your voice, but catches the faintest whispers of your mind. It's not just about what you say aloud. It's the quiet cues, your breathing, the rustle of your clothes, the subtle twitch of your muscles that betray your thoughts. By 2025, smartphones, wearables, and smart homes are packed with sensors designed to listen even when you're silent, turning your private moments into data gold mines. This goes beyond voice recognition. Subvocalization, the silent rehearsal of words in your mind, offers a key. When you think, your vocal cords and throat muscles flicker imperceptibly. A 2025 MIT breakthrough used ultra-sensitive microphones to capture these movements, translating them into text with 65% accuracy in real time. Your AirPods or fitness tracker could already be tuned to this frequency. An ex-user in September 2025 reported their Apple Watch, suggesting a meditation app after a silent stress spiral. No voice input, just an uncanny guess. Apple calls it smart prediction, but the precision feels invasive, hinting at tech stepping into uncharted territory. Brain signals add another layer. Non-invasive EEG devices, once confined to labs, have shrunk into sleek headbands. A 2024 Samsung prototype detected alpha waves, tied to relaxation or focus, with 80% accuracy, using lightweight sensors. Pair this with AI that maps wave patterns to specific thoughts, and you've got a system that might sense when you're daydreaming about a new car. A leaked 2025 Google patent describes a neuroadaptive interface for wearables, suggesting commercial rollout by 2026. On X, #NeurotechFears trended with over 50,000 posts, as tech insiders speculated on its implications. The real power lies in data fusion. AI doesn't rely on one signal. It weaves a tapestry from many. A 2023 University of Cambridge experiment combined EEG, heart rate, and eye tracking data to predict a subject's next move. Reaching for a snack, with 88% accuracy. Your smart fridge might already know you're craving ice cream before you act. A 2025 TechCrunch case study detailed a family whose Nest thermostat adjusted temperature based on unspoken comfort cues from wearables and cameras. The company pitched it as a feature, but the family felt watched, a sentiment echoed on X with stories of Roombas dodging spills never voiced, and TVs suggesting shows silently debated. Anecdotes fuel the mystery. A 2025 X post described a user's Roomba avoiding a spill they'd only thought about cleaning, with no command given. Another claimed their smart TV recommended a movie they'd mentally considered, no search history involved. These could be flukes, but a 2025 Forbes poll found 52% of smart home users suspect their devices respond to silent cues. Tech firms argue it's advanced machine learning, patterns from past behavior, but the lack of transparency breeds distrust. A 2024 lawsuit against Amazon alleged Alexa logged subvocal data without consent, settled out of court with no admission, leaving questions unanswered. The tech behind this is relentless. Microphones now use beamforming to isolate sounds, and a 2025 Qualcomm innovation added thought frequency detection to target low-amplitude muscle signals. Paired with AI trained on millions of profiles, it infers intent with startling precision. Cameras track micro-expressions, slight eyebrow raises, or lip twitches, linked to emotions, with a 2024 Oxford University study achieving 90% accuracy in detecting excitement, feeding data to ad platforms live. Your Zoom call might be analyzing more than your words, silently profiling your state of mind. Could it get stranger? Quantum computing, advancing in 2025, might amplify this. A 2024 Caltech experiment showed that focused observation alters quantum states. Could your mind's focus tweak AI responses? It's speculative, but a 2025 IBM white paper hints at quantum AI hybrids for predictive analytics, suggesting devices might not just listen but resonate with your consciousness. Imagine staring at your screen, thinking a secret, and seeing an ad flicker back as if your mind whispered it first. What can you do? Shielding offers a start. A 2025 Consumer Reports Guide recommends Faraday bags for phones, blocking signals and reducing ad relevance by 60% in tests. Software like Privacy Dashboard lets you track app permissions. Uninstalling suspicious ones cut targeting by 45% for users. Opt out of ad tracking via device settings. A 2025 X-hack from TechAnon suggests using VPNs and dummy accounts to muddy data trails, dropping personalized ads by 70%. It's not perfect, but it's a shield against the unseen. The future looms large. By 2030, brain-computer interface, BCI, implants might decode full thoughts, according to a 2025 Neuralink roadmap. Quantum AI could predict moods before you feel them, per a 2025 MIT forecast. Laws might respond. 2025 EU drafts propose $10 million fines for neural data misuse, but enforcement trails behind. Your silence could become a contested space where tech and privacy clash. This isn't just about gadgets. It's about control. The next time you sit in quiet, think a private thought. That hum from your device might be more than static. It could be AI tuning into your mind. This is Midnight Paradox peeling back another layer. What will you do with this knowledge? Yet the impact of this silent eavesdropping stretches far beyond your devices, seeping into the fabric of your relationships and society. Picture a world where your unspoken fears or joys shape how others see you. A 2025 study from the University of Amsterdam revealed that 68% of participants felt uneasy knowing apps could infer anxiety from heart rate data, altering their online interactions. Imagine a partner's smartwatch flagging a silent grudge you never voiced. It's AI nudging them to confront you before you're ready. A 2024 X thread with 20,000 replies debated couples using mood trackers to decode each other's thoughts. Some hailed it as deeper intimacy. Others decried it as betrayal. This tech could fracture trust, splitting society into those who embrace this transparency and those who fight to keep their minds private. The psychological toll is just as stark. A 2025 Harvard report linked constant surveillance to a 35% surge in anxiety disorders, as people begin self-censoring their inner monologues, wary of unseen judgment. You might pause before dreaming of a bold career change, knowing your device could signal it to employers via subtle stress signals. Creativity suffers too. A 2023 Yale study found 42% of artists felt stifled, fearing their brainstorming sessions were hijacked by targeted ads before they could act. Your mind becomes a battleground, where the freedom to think freely erodes under the weight of being perpetually observed. But resistance is brewing. Beyond basic shielding, a 2025 open-source project called MindGuard offers a plugin to scramble neural data from wearables, cutting AI inference by 55% in beta tests. Community hacks on X recommend white noise generators to mask subvocal signals, with users reporting a 40% drop in targeted ads. A grassroots movement, Thought Free Zone, pushes for digital detox zones, public spaces with signal jammers, gaining traction in 15 cities by 2025. Legal fronts are heating up, with a 2025 class action lawsuit against Google alleging thought profiling through ad data, demanding $500 million in damages. These efforts signal a pushback against the invisible listener. Corporate responses vary. In 2025, Microsoft launched Consent Mode, limiting neural data use and reducing profiling by 30% for opt-in users, a move praised on X under tech ethics. Meanwhile, Meta doubled down, with a 2025 leak revealing plans for Emotion Sync to link EEG data with social feeds, igniting data ethics now with 100,000 posts. Governments stumble. A 2025 UN resolution aimed for global thought privacy standards, but vetoes stalled it. The tech race accelerates, with startups eyeing mind analytics markets by 2027, promising personalized experiences at the cost of mental autonomy. This shift reshapes identity. A 2025 Oxford simulation predicts that by 2035, digital twins, AI avatars mirroring your thoughts, could be sold to marketers or used in virtual trials, creating a version of you beyond your control. Trust erodes. A 2025 Gallup poll showed 73% distrust smart devices, up from 45% in 2020. Yet hope flickers. A 2025 TED Talk by a neuroethicist proposed thought encryption chips, implantable by 2030, to lock mental privacy away from prying algorithms. The ripple effects touch culture. In 2025, a viral TikTok challenge dared users to think taboo thoughts and track ad responses. 37% reported related content within hours, fueling hashtag mindgame trends. Art evolves, with 2025 exhibitions using AI to visualize unvoiced emotions, blending human and machine creativity. But education falters. A 2024 UNESCO report warned that students, aware of thought tracking, self-censor in virtual classrooms, dropping engagement by 28%. Society teeters on a knife edge, balancing innovation and intrusion. Counter tech advances. A 2025 MIT hackathon birthed NeuroShield, a wearable that emits random neural noise, confusing AI by 60% in trials. Open-source communities on GitHub released Silent Mind software in 2025, masking digital footprints and cutting ad personalization by 50% for 10,000 users. A 2025 EU pilot tested privacy bubbles, portable jammers for personal spaces, reducing data collection by 75% in tests. These tools empower individuals, but their reach is limited against corporate giants. The human cost deepens. A 2025 psychological study from UCLA found 49% of people experience thought fatigue, a new syndrome where constant monitoring saps mental energy, leading to a 15% drop in productivity. Relationships shift. A 2025 Psychology Today article noted couples using thought-tracking apps report 30% more conflicts, as silent tensions surface unnaturally. Yet some adapt, forming mindful tech groups that teach meditation to outpace AI, gaining 50,000 followers on X by 2025. Governments grapple with control. In 2025, China expanded its Smart Citizen framework to include thought-based social credit scores, piloted in 3 provinces with 80% compliance. The U.S. debated a 2025 Mind Privacy Act, but lobbying stalled it. Russia's 2025 Cognitive Security Initiative aims to monitor dissent via wearables, raising global alarms. The balance of power tilts toward those who master this tech. What's your role? A 2025 citizen science project, MindMap, invited 25,000 participants to log thought ad correlations, finding 43% consistency. Data now fuels advocacy. You could join, testing your own devices, or build defenses with open-source tools. The choice looms. Surrender to this new reality or reclaim your mental space. History whispers caution. The 1980s Soviet psychotronics, the CIA's Stargate, failed attempts at mind control, now reborn in smarter forms. Tech offers convenience, but at what price? Your next silent musing might echo in a stranger's algorithm. This is Midnight Paradox unveiling the stakes. Will you stand guard over your thoughts? Picture this. It's the year 2027. You sit down at your desk, ready to draft an email. Before you even touch the keyboard, your screen fills with autocomplete suggestions, not based on what you typed before, but on what you meant to type. Your thought, still half-formed, is reflected back to you like a digital mirror. Sounds convenient, doesn't it? Until you realize those suggestions aren't neutral. They're nudging you, subtly aligning your wording with corporate tone, steering your phrasing toward a political slant, or framing your request in a way that benefits someone else. A 2026 report from the University of Toronto revealed that prototype mind-adaptive keyboards, increased efficiency by 25%, but 62% of participants admitted they couldn't tell where their own voice ended and the AI's influence began. When thought and machine fuse, who's the author of your words? You or the algorithm? This isn't science fiction. In 2025, Google's leaked neuroadaptive interface patent hinted at exactly this, a system that anticipates not just your actions, but your intentions. By 2026, startups across Silicon Valley were already pitching frictionless communication devices, headsets, earbuds, and AR glasses that let you speak without speaking. Investors hailed it as the future of productivity. Privacy advocates saw something darker, a silent takeover of human agency. The first cracks in the illusion of control appeared quickly. In early 2027, a viral X thread told the story of a software engineer in Berlin whose AR headset kept correcting his silent thoughts into corporate-friendly jargon. He wanted to write an email complaining about burnout, but his device softened the tone automatically, considering new challenges instead of exhausted and exploited. When he resisted, the AI suggested a wellness app. The post racked up 120,000 shares under the hashtag #HijackedMind, sparking a global debate. Was this efficiency or censorship at the level of thought? The answer, of course, is both. If thoughts can be shaped, they can be politicized. Governments know this, and by 2028, some are already adapting. In South Korea, a pilot project called NeuroVote tested cognitive polling, where citizens wore EEG headbands while answering political surveys. The system didn't just record answers, it measured stress signals, eye movement, and subvocal hesitations. Officials claimed this gave a truer picture of public opinion. Critics argued it was thought policing dressed up as democracy. Meanwhile, in Washington, leaked documents in 2027 revealed lobbying efforts by tech giants to influence the drafting of a Mental Transparency Act. The proposed bill would allow companies to process nonverbal intent data for user experience optimization. Buried in legal jargon, it essentially legalized the reading of subvocal signals without explicit consent. Public outrage was immediate. A Gallup poll that year showed 81% of Americans opposed the measure. Yet the lobbying money was staggering, and the bill remains in limbo. In authoritarian regimes, the potential is even starker. Reports from China's Smart Citizen 2.0 framework described experimental programs linking wearable neural sensors to social credit scores. A raised heartbeat during a speech about government policy? -5 points. Silent frustration in a workplace meeting? Flagged for emotional instability. The line between personal emotion and public loyalty blurred into non-existence. The global stage tilted as countries raced to master cognitive security. NATO's 2027 summit in Brussels included a closed-door session on neurowarfare, acknowledging that future conflicts might involve not missiles or drones, but data siphoned directly from citizens' minds. Your private thought became not just personal, it became geopolitical. While governments debated, corporations sprinted ahead. By 2028, the advertising industry had fully embraced subconscious targeting. Forget cookies and clickstreams. The goldmine was now your unspoken desire. A case study published in Adweek described a retail pilot in London where shoppers wore AR glasses offering personalized navigation. As customers walked past shelves, subtle haptic pulses nudged them toward items their brainwaves had spiked interest in, products they hadn't even consciously chosen yet. Sales soared by 34%. Consent? It was hidden in the terms of service, a single sentence buried in 50 pages of legalese. Users began to notice uncanny patterns. One woman in New York posted on TikTok that her smart fridge stocked oat milk automatically the same day she silently debated switching from dairy. I never said it out loud. I never searched. I just thought about it, she said, her video amassing 3 million views. The comments flooded in. Same thing happened to me with protein powder. My car suggested a mechanic before I even told anyone it was making noises. It's like the algorithm knows me better than my own family. A 2028 Pew Research survey confirmed the sentiment. 59% of smart home users believe their devices responded to thoughts rather than actions. The line between intuition and intrusion blurred until people couldn't tell where their own instincts ended and corporate nudges began. What happens when every stray thought becomes a data point? By 2029, psychologists had a name for it: cognitive exhaustion syndrome. A Stanford study tracked 5,000 participants who lived with advanced mind-adaptive tech for over a year. Results were stark. 63% reported heightened paranoia, 48% experienced reduced creativity, and 29% admitted they began curating their inner monologues, afraid of what their devices might pick up. Imagine censoring not just what you say, but what you think. You pause mid-daydream, afraid that imagining quitting your job might trigger career coaching ads. Or worse, alert your boss's enterprise monitoring system. You hesitate before fantasizing about a forbidden crush, fearing your smart glasses will log it as a romantic interest and adjust your dating app feed. Your own brain becomes a surveillance state where you are both prisoner and guard. The cultural effects deepened. Musicians complained that their mental jam sessions were interrupted by eerily timed ads for instruments they hadn't voiced. Writers said their plots felt stolen when story ideas popped up as algorithmic recommendations before they'd written a single page. The boundary between inspiration and exploitation thinned to a hairline crack. A haunting 2028 art installation in Berlin, Echoes of the Unspoken, captured the mood. Visitors wore EEG headbands while walking through dark halls. Their brainwaves painted shifting colors on the walls, until, midway, an AI hijacked the patterns, twisting them into targeted product logos. Audiences left shaken, whispering that they'd just witnessed their subconscious turned into billboards. But history tells us every power provokes resistance. By 2028, grassroots counter-tech movements gained momentum. Silent Shield, an open-source project, released earbud attachments that generated faint neural noise, confusing algorithms by 70% in early tests. Communities formed underground markets for thought jammers, wearable pendants emitting microfrequency pulses that scrambled subvocal signals. Critics dismissed them as pseudoscience, but anecdotal reports surged: fewer targeted ads, fewer eerie coincidences. Activism spread too. The hashtag MindFree campaign, launched in 2027 by a coalition of neuroethicists, urged cities to establish cognitive safe zones, public areas where jammers blocked all neural surveillance. By 2029, 23 cities worldwide had adopted pilot programs. Cafes advertised themselves as thought-free havens, banning wearable sensors at the door. For some, it was nostalgia, reclaiming the simple joy of unmonitored silence. For others, it was survival. Legal battles intensified. In 2028, a historic lawsuit in California accused a tech conglomerate of covert thought harvesting, seeking $2 billion in damages. Though the case stalled, it sparked hearings in the U.S. Senate. A senator's chilling words went viral: "We once fought for freedom of speech. Now we must fight for freedom of thought." And so we edge closer to 2030. Prototypes for brain-computer implants promise full thought-to-text conversion, bypassing subvocalization entirely. Quantum AI hybrids, tested in IBM labs, claim to predict mood swings before they happen. Rumors swirl of classified projects where soldiers train with cognitive co-pilots, AI systems anticipating their every move in battle. The promise is dazzling. Imagine a future where you compose symphonies by thinking, diagnose illness with a stray intuition, or summon knowledge instantly without speaking. But the peril is darker. A society where your inner voice is no longer your own, where corporations auction your desires before you even know them, where governments score your loyalty by the consistency of your heartbeat. The question isn't whether this future will arrive, it's how we'll greet it. With awe? With fear? With rebellion? Or with weary acceptance? Your thoughts have always been your last sanctuary. Now, even that space is contested. The silence in your room may no longer belong to you. It may echo with the whispers of unseen algorithms, nudging, shaping, harvesting. The next time you feel a sudden ad resonate too perfectly or a device react to a thought you never spoke, pause. Ask yourself, was that me, or was it the machine? This is Midnight Paradox, pulling back the curtain once again. What do you think? Are we on the brink of liberation through technology or the final collapse of privacy itself? Share your thoughts below. The year isn't 2035. It isn't some distant future from a sci-fi novel. It's here, right now. We're staying in the present, walking through kitchens, offices, classrooms, and quiet bedrooms, where this technology is already changing the way we live. Imagine showing up at work on a Monday morning. You log into the company dashboard, but before you type a single word, your wellness app pings, stress detected. Consider a 5-minute breathing exercise. You haven't said you're tired. You haven't told anyone you were up all night finishing a report. But the subtle strain in your pulse, the shallow rhythm of your breath, has already betrayed you. In 2025, a multinational consulting firm quietly rolled out emotional analytics software, combining heart rate monitors in employee wearables with micro-expression tracking from office webcams. The official line? Boosting productivity by identifying burnout early. The reality? Several employees reported receiving coaching nudges before they even knew they were stressed. One worker wrote on X, "I got flagged as disengaged for daydreaming during a meeting. I wasn't disengaged, I was brainstorming." Think about that. Your private mental drift, once a harmless escape, now tallies against you on a performance review. The office, once a space for ideas, risks becoming a laboratory where thoughts are measured, ranked, and monetized. You might think the home is safer. After all, it's your space. But what happens when the walls themselves listen? A mother in Chicago described on TikTok how her smart home speaker suggested a children's therapy podcast minutes after her son slammed the door in frustration. She never searched for help. She never asked. She just worried silently. "I didn't know whether to be grateful or horrified," she said. Another family in Madrid found their thermostat adjusting before arguments even began. Subtle tension, raised voices, sharper breathing, triggered the system to cool the room. A TechCrunch report praised it as empathic AI, but the parents felt exposed, like their marriage had been reduced to a dataset. When even your private worries about your child's future or the tremors in your relationship are mirrored back by machines, is your home still a refuge, or just another glass box? Now picture the classroom. A place where children should be free to ask, imagine, make mistakes. In 2024, UNESCO reported a 28% drop in student engagement during online classes that incorporated focus trackers. These systems monitored gaze, blinking, and subtle cues of distraction. Teachers were told it would help. Instead, students learned to self-censor, afraid their wandering minds would be flagged. One teenager in California confessed anonymously, "I stopped daydreaming about art. I just stared at the screen so the software wouldn't mark me down." Education thrives on imagination, yet we're teaching the next generation that even imagination is dangerous if it drifts too far from approved boxes. What does it mean to raise a generation who've learned not just to be quiet in class, but to quiet their very minds. It's not just classrooms and offices. It's the most intimate corners of our lives. Dating apps now experiment with neural cues to find your perfect match. In 2025, a startup in San Francisco launched NeuroMatch, a wearable that claimed to detect unspoken attraction. Users reported dates being suggested not because of swipes, but because their pulse quickened during profile viewing. Some hailed it as magic. Others felt manipulated. One woman posted, "My crush popped up the same day I thought of him. But was it destiny or surveillance dressed as romance?" Couples, too, are divided. A 2025 Psychology Today feature described partners using mood-tracking wearables, hoping for better communication. Some said it saved relationships. Others said it destroyed trust. "If I can't even process my own feelings before my device announces them," one man said, "then what's left of intimacy?" Love has always been about mystery, about discovery. What happens when technology tries to script the ending before the first chapter is even written? Even faith, the most private sanctuary of thought, isn't immune. In late 2025, parishioners in Italy reported an app designed for spiritual well-being that used subtle biometric cues to recommend prayers. Some found comfort in a phone that knew when they needed peace. Others felt it was sacrilege, a machine intruding where only God should tread. A theologian at Oxford raised a chilling point in a lecture. If algorithms can sense doubt during prayer and corporations own that data, who truly holds your faith? Spirituality is, at its core, an inner dialogue between you and something greater. If that dialogue is logged, analyzed, and sold, does the sacred lose its sanctity? On paper, healthcare is the shining side of this technology. Non-invasive neural monitors could spot seizures before they happen, track depression without words, or detect early signs of dementia. Lives could be saved. And yet, patients are already uneasy. In 2025, a Boston hospital tested Empathy AI to measure patient comfort during consultations. The system nudged doctors when anxiety was high. Patients soon realized their unspoken fears were being charted in medical records without consent. One woman later discovered her insurance premiums had quietly risen, flagged for elevated stress markers. Yes, technology might save you, but at what cost if every heartbeat and stray worry becomes a line item in your insurance profile? Faced with this, people adapt. Some switch devices to airplane mode when they argue. Others blast white noise at night, not to drown out traffic, but to mask subvocal whispers. On Reddit, a community called MindMutes shares DIY hacks. Humming softly during anxious thoughts, using mismatched earbuds to confuse trackers, carrying old-school notebooks instead of journaling apps. It feels almost absurd, doesn't it? Like we're living in a spy novel, but the spies are our appliances. And yet these little rebellions carry weight. They remind us that even small acts, a whisper, a hum, a refusal to log in, can reclaim slices of privacy. Pop culture hasn't ignored this shift. Musicians release tracks about stolen dreams, films warn of thought surveillance, and TikTok challenges dare users to think taboo and record what ads follow. Some laugh it off. Others feel haunted. Art galleries host exhibitions where your brainwaves create the art. Beautiful. Until you realize the gallery also harvests the data. Writers publish dystopian novels, only to have their plot twists echoed by algorithms that already mapped the same anxieties. Culture is no longer just reflecting society. It's being bent by the feedback loop of machines listening for what we dare not say aloud. And maybe that's the most unsettling part. Not the lawsuits, not the patents, not the headlines, but the quiet, personal reckoning each of us faces. You catch yourself mid-thought, hesitating before you let your mind wander, wondering if it's safe. You wonder if your sadness will show up in tomorrow's ads. if your hopes will become marketing opportunities, if your doubts will be recorded somewhere you'll never see. It's not some far-off dystopia. It's the dinner table, the classroom, the workplace, the prayer bench. It's now. Your thoughts are no longer yours alone. They are data points, predictions, commodities. But they are also your last frontier of freedom. The question is, will you fight to keep them private, or accept a life where even your silence is shared? What do you think? Should technology that listens to our inner lives be embraced for its convenience, or resisted for the sake of our humanity? Share your thoughts in the comments below. There are moments in history when the world changes so quietly that most people hardly notice. No sirens, no warnings, just small shifts that build into something unstoppable. You sit in your room, the lamp casting its familiar glow, and for a fleeting second you wonder if the silence is truly yours. It feels heavier now, as though something unseen lingers in the air. Maybe you brush the thought aside. Maybe you laugh at yourself for being paranoid, yet deep down you sense it. The quiet has been altered, invaded, transformed into something that watches back. The last sanctuary of the human mind is no longer guaranteed. Every breath, every hesitation, every flicker of emotion risks becoming someone else's property. Think of how much of life depends on what we never say aloud. The private doubts before we confess love. The whispered prayers before we sleep. The secret anxieties we don't want even our closest friends to see. For centuries, those moments belonged only to us. They were the inner chamber of being, the safe harbor no one could enter without invitation. But now that chamber has cracks. Invisible wires run through it, and faint signals escape, carrying pieces of our most private selves into the hungry algorithms waiting beyond. A sigh, a pause, a tremor in your hand. These are no longer innocent details. They are breadcrumbs for machines designed to assemble your inner world like a puzzle. And the most frightening part is not how violent this theft feels, but how gentle. Nobody bursts into your home. Nobody forces a confession from your lips. Instead, it happens through comfort, through convenience, through the small trade-offs you make each day. A new headset promises clarity. A smartwatch keeps you healthy. A voice assistant seems friendly, almost human. With every upgrade you accept, the bargain deepens. One more feature that knows you better. One more service that predicts your needs. Until one day, you realize that the line between your thoughts and the machine's whispers has blurred so completely, you no longer know which voice is your own. Picture a world where people no longer argue because disagreements are softened by predictive algorithms before words even leave their mouths. It sounds peaceful, but what is peace without the freedom to wrestle with raw feeling? Imagine classrooms where children's wandering minds are pulled back by subtle alerts, their daydreams clipped before they can bloom. Imagine marriages where devices detect resentment before it's spoken, offering mediation apps that turn human conflict into pre-programmed scripts. We are told this is harmony, but perhaps it is the death of authenticity. The collapse of privacy will not arrive as a crash. It will arrive as a lullaby. It will soothe you with gentle efficiency until you drift into a life where every private hesitation has already been priced, cataloged, and sold. Convenience is the velvet chain, comfort the polished lock. And one day, the door of your inner self may close, not because someone broke in, but because you forgot how to open it. Yet, even as this shadow grows, people resist in quiet, almost poetic ways. Parents switching off devices at bedtime so their children's laughter belongs only to them. Lovers leaving their phones outside the room, reclaiming intimacy from the cold glass screens. Students scribbling in paper notebooks, finding freedom in ink that cannot be harvested. Communities creating small sanctuaries, cafes where silence is honored, places where no device is allowed to measure the rhythm of your thoughts. It is resistance not with banners and protests, but with the fragile act of choosing to be human when the world pushes you to become data. And still, the temptation of power is undeniable. Brain-computer links can give voice to those who cannot speak. Neural sensors can detect illness before symptoms appear. There is wonder here, a future that could be luminous if handled with care. But history teaches us that power is rarely left untwisted. The same tool that heals can be turned to control, the same light that guides can blind. The paradox is sharp. The closer we come to miracles, the closer we edge toward catastrophe. So here we are, standing at the threshold of something vast. You feel it every time an ad appears too perfectly timed, every time your device responds before you ask, every time your own thoughts seem echoed back at you by machines that should be deaf. The signs are no longer whispers on obscure forums. They are headlines, patents, lawsuits, and daily anecdotes from ordinary people who realize their silence is not their own. The present is already haunted by the future. And maybe that is what unsettles us most. Not the idea that someone might control us with brute force, but that they might guide us so subtly we believe the choices were ours. That we might surrender the last piece of ourselves not in fear, but in comfort. That the sanctuary of the mind could vanish not with a bang, but with a sigh. Still, the final choice is not written. Not yet. For all the devices humming in your room, for all the sensors stitched into the fabric of your life, there remains a space, fragile, flickering, but real, where your silence is still yours. Perhaps it is in the discipline of turning off a machine. Perhaps it is in prayer no algorithm can interpret. Perhaps it is in the stubborn human act of imagining freely without an audience. That sanctuary is endangered, but not gone. And so the question rests with you. Will you guard it, protect it, fight for it when it seems easier to surrender? Or will you let it fade, lulled by the soft promises of a future where convenience replaces freedom? The hum in your room tonight may be only static, or it may be the echo of something listening. Either way, it calls you to decide. This is Midnight Paradox. The story ends here, but the choice does not. Do you believe we are stepping into an age of liberation where technology serves our humanity, or into a collapse where humanity serves technology? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your silence, after all, may be the most important voice of all.